Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. We both are in Texas right now, so welcome to the Rig on Wheels show featuring MVT. This is your first ever truck driver recruitment show, and I am your host, Kameel Gaines, the CEO and founder of Rig on Wheels. And joining me is Pierson, Robert Pierson, over there at Mesilla Valley, and our favorite VP of recruitment. And this is your ultimate destination. So we talk about trucking insights, news, hot jobs, recruitment tips. What else we talk about? And driver tips. So let's definitely make history together, whether you're a driver, recruiter, or just a trucking enthusiast. So Pierson, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Excited to be in with our Tuesday ritual at this point, and lots to talk about today. So let's do it.
Let's do it. So as I hear, we still got a government. We're still here. Nobody shut down. So that's good. What you got on the wire there? I always wanted to say
the House was able to pass a $460 billion package of spending bills March 6th. The first package covers the Department of Transportation, Veteran Affairs, Agriculture, the Interior, among others. The big takeaway here is the government is pretty proficient at spending money quickly. But the most important thing is it really keeps the government functioning for the next remainder of 2024, which is going to be a nice thing. There is a lag. We'll joke that when the government shuts down, life keeps going, and it does. But there are consequences, in particular with the uncertainty that it creates. And in an economy that has a lot of holes in it, there's positives that are taking place in the economy. But as any driver knows from the freight recession, uncertainty in the industry, not knowing what's coming, just only exacerbates some of the problems that we feel presently. So fortunately, we don't have to watch the soap opera on the nightly news as far as what's going on in D.C., at least not for this reason.
That's good. So we can only just watch the soap opera when it comes to trucking, right? That's it.
That's correct.
So we can talk about diesel, what's going on with gas, what's going on with this inflation that's just killing us all the way around, right? We don't have to talk about anything else. Okay, perfect. Now, you were offline talking about this autonomous truck stuff. So let's talk about that a little bit, so then we can jump into talking about the professional driver tip of it. So
yeah, absolutely. Transport Topics has a story out there right now. Autonomous trucking landscape is shifting rapidly, taking a fresh look at the developers that remain active in their progress towards commercializing at scale. Our industry right now has two different forces at work. We have an industry that's trying to push for electric vehicles, multiple challenges on the electric vehicle front. And then in our world, what we focus on primarily is it is a constant weekly story as far as what's going on with autonomous vehicles. Though they are expanding some of the concepts and locations they can do it, I will point out on all of these, there's always a driver still involved. You got to be able to fuel the truck. You got to be able to deal with the customer. You have to be a subject matter expert on it. The days of the glorified steering wheel holder may be coming to an end soon. There are a lot of steps, though, and this is something that's extremely capital intensive. So people are spending a ton of money on this stuff. It does not have a commercialized, applicable spot right now that's generating a profit. With that said, it gets into a little bit about what you talked, Kameel. You talk about the professionalism of driver. So as this technology comes down the road, the professionalism part is really what keeps the driver in a prime position to keep a job, and if anything, become more specialized and more valuable in the long run. I think people outside of trucking are envisioning magic trucks going down the road with no person. But in actuality, what it does is create a job that's more similar to how a pilot works for United or American Airlines now. That pilot doesn't do 90% of the flying. They do the takeoff, the landings, but the real expertise is that pilot is a subject matter expert on the plane that they fly. So if they're on a Boeing 737, that pilot probably could fly any plane, but they really know that 737 from front to back. They take classes on it. They keep update on it. They know every maintenance issue that's going on with it. And so that's why those pilots now make really good money. If you go to any airport, if you're in an airport and you're going to an orientation, as an example, and you see a sign for pilots, you'll see some incredibly high bonuses. I saw one last week in Phoenix offering up to $121,000 in sign-on bonuses for pilots. Now, I'm not saying that the $121,000 sign-on bonus is coming to trucking anytime soon. With that said, it creates a very specialized field. There's certain drivers that will not survive in the environment because they're not adaptable, or they are those glorified steering wheel holders. In actuality, that driver, though, becomes really valuable because if they're adaptable and they can learn that equipment and they have great customer service skills, you will probably have a job that over the next 5 to 10 years, the pay continues to go up dramatically like it did in 2022 and 2023.
So that brings us to another point here. We always talk about driver shortage, and everybody says, "Oh, there's no driver shortage." Blah, blah, blah. I still see that whether I see it on all different platforms, including LinkedIn. So when we talk about, again, when we're saying driver shortage, we are not talking about people that hold a CDL. Okay, we know that they are drivers because they do hold a CDL. What we're talking about is quality drivers. But now when Pierson is talking about the autonomous truck, that's taking us even further. So that's going to take us into another set of shortages, right? That's taking us into the professional realm. Okay, another type of adaptability. The professional realm is quote unquote your corporate, if you want to say. So it's no longer quality driver could be they're going to MVT. These are the requirements, right? First come, first serve, as long as they meet these requirements. Professional is 10 trucks. We have 20 drivers. Let's look at these 20 drivers to see who are the best of these 20 for these 10 trucks. That's who the professionals are. So it even surpasses the quality. Quality is meeting your qualifications, the standard being raised, but the professional is literally who are the best of this lot, this group. That is going to other industries, even not even other industries. If you think about your managers in trucking and things like that, it's not the first come, first serve. It's the best in that group, the best of whomever is going for their VP job, the AVP, the director job. It's not a first come, first serve situation. So that is where we're heading to when it comes to the driver. So that is the culture shift. So we have a large, I don't know what we would call this word, but it's a large span that we have to jump over from just a regular driver, which is a first come, first serve, to the quality driver, all the way to what we would consider the professional driver. So now it's looking at the applications, going through the process and seeing who is the best of this group. So they actually could qualify, but it does not mean that they're the best. Because if you're going to be the subject matter expert on these autonomous trucks, that means you're going to be the dealing with everything when it comes to this truck, the shipper, the everything. So they want the best of the best, literally. What did you have to say about that?
I will say that traditionally we always heard the saying in this industry, take care of your CDL, it's your livelihood. I don't think that's exact enough, though. Your CDL is a piece of it. It is not the sole thing that people look at anymore in this particular industry at this time or going forward as the industry evolves and changes. It's really take care of your background, take care of your track record. So you have the CDL. Having a CDL is cool that you got it, but it's not the accomplishment that it used to be. Just because you have a CDL doesn't mean that you're succeeding at being a trucker. It just means you've been initiated into the industry. That background is the important part. Your employment history. Do you have a steady employment history? Are you safe? Do you have tickets? Do you have accidents? Do you have terminations from multiple employers? Those are conversations that people in my role are having a lot when they look at available drivers versus available trucks. And so it's not simply having a CDL. That is the bare bone minimum. If you look at an airline and they go, hey, keep your pilot's license, that's your backbone. Any pilot will tell you, no, that's the prerequisite just to have the conversation. That doesn't mean anything. That just means you get to be a part of the discussion. As a professional driver, your CDL just means you've been invited to the party to have a discussion. That's all that represents. Once you have that CDL, it's your background. People look at your employment history, at your tickets, at your accidents. Were you terminated for late deliveries? Were you terminated because you had attendance issues? Was it safety violations that were within the company? These things get looked at right now. What I am finding, and even in this present environment with a suppressed freight environment, your drivers that have 1 or 2 jobs in the last 3 years, no tickets, no accidents, and are adaptable, they don't really feel the same freight recession that other drivers are feeling. They'll have bad weeks and things will happen from time to time, but the people that really have the best backgrounds, they are having very different discussions when it is time for them to look for a job compared to the person that has 5 or 6 jobs in the last 3 years. We had an applicant here that we weren't able to move forward with that had 7 jobs in the last year as he was trying to find his fit. Nice person, very nice person. He's going to have trouble finding employment. He was terminated from 2 of the places. A couple others do not want him back as ineligible for rehire. That driver has kind of reached the end of his rope that probably he got into the wrong industry for him to begin with. But that driver is going to have the next couple of years. He's not going to enjoy that surge in pricing that goes with higher pay. He's the one that probably the industry is slowly trying to get rid of. Not intentionally. It's not collusion between one company or the other. He's just not really worth bringing in the door. And unfortunately for him, his line of work's probably not in trucking. The driver that has 1 or 2 jobs, no tickets, no accidents, a clean PSP, most likely has looked at a career path and has a goal 5 to 10 years down the road. That driver, even in today's environment of a suppressed freight, is still attractive. And any company would go, I want to have a conversation about bringing that driver in.
What I want to do is piggyback on what you just said, because there are more drivers in that situation, that in that scenario that you said. They're really good guys. They're really good gals and guys. They really don't have per se a bad background, but they had a bad job background, right? And they just need a fresh start. So I want to go to commercial, come back, and us discuss how can we help them get a fresh start in trucking. That's what I want to help them with. So, Kayla, can you go to commercial? And when we come back, I want to jump into that part of what Pierson was just talking about. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, so Pierson left off, and as he was talking, it really started getting into my head, right? So as third-party recruiters, things go in cycles. And there are times where we have to help the drivers out to figure things out. Depending on what's going on will depict what we have to help out, right? In large quantities. So right now, what Pierson is talking about is where it was a driver, and he was a really fine guy, like super great guy. He either got into the wrong industry or really wasn't educated on where he should have gone, or had a unrealistic expectation of the industry and start hopping around. He had 7 jobs in 1 year. Now we're in this way where the culture of driver is or should be different, and he did not know that. So you got companies that don't want him back. He was fired, all of that type of stuff. So he's kind of being forced out, if you would say, not a collusion or cohesion or whatever the word is. But basically, what should he do next? What I would say is the first 2 things is be honest with yourself. Is this what you want to do? If not, get out. Stop wasting time. You got one life. That's it. If it is what you want to do, you have to humble yourself, because now what you need to do is go to what we would call is more of a second chance company. That would not be MVT. So do not call Wheel on Wheels and say, this is what happened. I want to go and do this, and this is all I'm looking for, because now the conversation is over, null and void. There's nothing else to say. We will not be able to help you. However, if you have a clean background and you have 7 jobs or something like that, and you're open, we might have a second chance company that you need to stay there. You need to sit there, and you're going to have to take a lower pay and prove yourself within this industry. So you can then go eventually and work at an MVT again and get on a route and get at a pay that you want. If that's not what you're willing to do, then you need to get out of the industry. Because as an adult, and anyone that I'm talking to is going to be an adult, because we do not recruit children. So I'm talking from one adult to another adult. As an adult, there are times that we make mistakes and we have to start fresh. We have to start over, and we have to crawl again before we walk. So that means that you have to show what you're willing to do. And if that's not what you're willing to do, then trucking is not for you. And that's okay. There might be another industry for you. But if trucking is what you want to do, then you need to go to what we would consider is a second chance company, take a little cut in pay, do a route that might have you out a little longer, so you can show your commitment, show your training again, and then be able to work your way back into a route or into a company that you would want. That's how you do it. Literally, that is how you do it. You stay out of accidents. You keep your nose clean. You be respectful. Make sure you're agreeable and adaptable when it comes to shippers, customer service, everything. And prove that you are a professional driver that is supposed to be in this industry. That's literally how you would do it. Like in any other industry, anywhere. What were you about to say?
One of the things I'd say for all drivers too is, when you're on with recruiters, don't look at this as being, hey, what am I doing for the next 90 days? Consider the conversation you're having of trying to figure out that you're going to stay for years. Take the time. It means it's a longer conversation. It is not a quick 3-minute phone call. But too many drivers often will take the company that says yes first, which does not generally have a very high success rate. Take the time to assume I'm looking for the place that I'm going to lay down roots for several years. That recruiter often is in a hurry to get you in the door and may try to pencil whip it and go real quick through that conversation. I'm trying to qualify with you just like you're trying to qualify with me. That phone call is literally seeing if we're a fit. And just because I could say yes doesn't mean that I'm in the right place for you. It means I'm trying to fill a truck. Have a longer conversation. So as you're talking to Rig on Wheels, go through what is it that I'm trying to avoid? What have I experienced in my career that I just don't want to experience again? What are the things that I want to have, but what are the things I really need to have that just make the world a difference if I'm going to stay or not? It means a longer conversation. But I trust you, trust me, Kameel's team, all of her recruiters are judged not only who was hired, but they like getting success stories a year later of, hey, you know, your driver's still with me from a year ago. He won this award. Or he or she had this happen to them on the road that was a cool thing. This is a long-term play. I know that trucking can feel like a day-to-day and a week-to-week type game, a lot like an NFL schedule. You're as only good as your last week. But we have to have more long-term discussions of what is it that I want to be doing 2, 3, 5 years down the road. If you treat the recruiting process like that, instead of you making a 90-day commitment, it will mean that you most likely tell a couple carriers that tell you, yes, I looked around. I'm not feeling it. I know sometimes it feels awkward to tell a recruiter, hey, I don't like this, but it's okay. That recruiter, if they're going to be a good recruiter, needs to be able to overcome being told no. It's okay. You don't have to know show and orientation. You don't have to go MIA on the recruiter. They are big folks. You can tell them on the phone, I don't like this. I don't feel comfortable moving forward. Doesn't make you a prima donna. It doesn't make you bad. It just means you're showing a level of discernment in where you ultimately want to call home.
Actually, we would prefer that because it helps us know what you want and don't want. To be honest with you, you have to be humble, especially if you're in certain situations, and need to be realistic too. But really, it actually helps when you're honest and letting us know instead of ghosting. You don't want to ghost. Grown people don't do that. We're not dating. You know, it's not a marriage. So, I mean, don't ghost your wife or husband either. That's not good. Of course,
Good
let's just say
relationship advice.
I don't do relationship advice either. Probably not good in that area either. But I'm just saying, literally, don't do that. Just let us know. That way we can take note. So when there is something that comes up, and it could be with that same company, right? But a different route. When it does come up, boom, here we go. Because if you do kind of play around, let's say it's with MVT, especially if it's with MVT, right? We're not going to throw your name in the hat if you kind of going back and forth instead of just saying what it is. Because one thing we do know is if it's your life, you're typically knowing what you want to do with your life. People are pretty Johnny on the spot about their life. When you're on the fence and you don't know what you want to do about your life, kind of puts a recruiter in an alarm state, and they don't want to put you down for that job. They rather put Johnny down or Susie down for the job and not put you down. And it could be the job you want, but you're too up and down, hot and cold. We can't take the chance as recruiters. We need to know that this particular driver wants this job, because our job is to keep the driver happy, and as you're our client, and also MVT is our client. So we need to have both of the clients happy, And we can't do that if we're not keeping the driver happy. So whether that's you or Johnny, and then we have to make sure MVT is happy. So we don't want to make Johnny unhappy. He has to pay his bills if you're wishy-washy. So it's literally about being a professional and saying what it is you're looking for, why you're looking for it, what happened in your last job, what is it that you want from this job, and why. What happened in your last job that says you need it in this job? Because as adults, we compare. So that is huge for us. Did you have something to say about that, Pierson?
Oh, no, you've said it perfectly. I can't disagree with a single statement that you've made. I would give you more credit for giving relationship advice because a lot of what you say would apply with it, especially when you go Chuck Woolery and do the 2 and 2 into a break.
Yeah, 2 and 2. In fact, we'll probably do that. We'll do, Kayla, we'll be back in 2 and 2, and then we'll come back with some hot jobs. And because you kind of let me know, it's not because I'm psychic, nor because I'm a Virgo. We're going to do Division 330 and 100. So 2 and 2, Kayla.
Hello, everybody. I'm DeAnthony Davis. I'm a truck driver from Cleveland, Texas. I've been driving for 3.5 years now. I recently saw a podcast with Rig on Wheels on YouTube. I gave them a call. They was fast. They was efficient. They helped me out. I didn't really want to be over the road, so they got me a good regional job. And hey, you should give them a call.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of hot jobs and some hot areas. So, Pierson.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about Division 100. 100 is a specific division for us out of El Paso, Texas. We do a lot of work out of El Paso and Laredo. We do approximately 450 to 500 cross-border moves using B1 drivers to bring across the border, and then ultimately for drivers based in the U.S. to take it to its end destination. Division 100 is a fun division, though, at about $1,450 to $1,540 a week. Really good home time, get home every single week. Got to live within about 75 miles of El Paso, Texas, so that includes places like Las Cruces, New Mexico, Horizon City, and a number of other smaller towns surrounding El Paso. We go up into the Midwest, in particular the lower Midwest, so you'll see places like Indianapolis, St. Louis, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, maybe even in the southern Michigan around the Lansing area. One of the questions I get asked a lot for El Paso is, do I have to deliver in Chicago? Generally not in the inner loop of Chicago. We have local drivers based in Chicago that make those final mile deliveries. In fact, all those guys we have up there that have been local drivers for has been doing it at least 2 years. So it's really experienced drivers up there that end up making that last delivery up in the Chicagoland area. But if you're based in El Paso, it's a really good opportunity. Stays very busy, even in this current freight environment, just because of the sheer volume of freight that we bring up out of Mexico thanks to NAFTA. You're going to have plenty of work and stay extremely busy over the next several months, no matter what the economy is doing, because we have a wide customer base. We work directly with direct customers, not contract or not broker freight or spot market freight. And so the outlook on that one is also going to be one of the ones that's best for your career trajectory in terms of having consistent pay. The other division that we'll take a look at today is Division 330. Division 330, we're looking for drivers out of the DFW area. We're looking for drivers out of Houston. We're looking for candidates that are based out of San Antonio or Laredo. Division 330 averages anywhere between $1,200 to $1,400 a week. Again, it's weekly home time. You'll go to the lower Great Lakes states, occasionally making runs out to the Southeast U.S., such as North Carolina or Atlanta, and then coming back into home. Again, this relies on a lot of that cross-border freight that comes across the border out of Nuevo Laredo into Laredo. Going to be very consistent. It also includes a productivity bonus. And so some of these loads are somewhat time sensitive. So that 5 cent per mile productivity bonus is basically at the end of the month. And this is every month. Every month starts anew. There's an extra 5 cent per mile bonus that comes with this division that if you have no tickets, no accidents, and no late deliveries or late getting out of the house on a month, you get an extra 5 cents added to all the miles that you ran. This basically represents anywhere between $300 to $400 extra at the end of the month in terms of an extra payment to the driver. So you'll generally see drivers in that $75,000 to $80,000 a year range once they get the bonuses figured into that. It's also a great division as far as very detailed customers with long-standing relationships with us. A lot of our customers on this particular division have been with us 20 plus years. So they get excited and familiar when they see MVT trucks, the big blue beast, roll into their yards. And so we have a very close relationship and of driver-friendly freight on that particular division. So if you're interested in Division 100 out of El Paso, you can give us a call at 281-968-3100. And if you're interested in Division 330 and you live out of Houston, Laredo, San Antonio, or the DFW area, again, 281-968-3100. I do get the question quite a bit, well, where in the DFW area? The DFW area is a big market, essentially the size of Connecticut and Rhode Island. We have both drop yards and secure terminals in Saginaw, Texas, as well as Hutchins, Texas. So we're on both sides of the DFW area. So always looking for opportunities out of the DFW, Houston, Laredo, San Antonio, and El Paso, Texas.
Yeah, everybody really likes that 330, so that's for sure. We like the 330 as well. Yeah.
We in particular have approximately 140 drivers on that division. It's one of our divisions with one of our lowest turnover rates. That we continue to have a lower turnover rate than most of our peers in this industry. 330 seems to be the one that they stick with and don't want to leave.
Yeah, we like that division a lot. And also, in addition to the telephone number, you all can also go to the website at rigonwheels.com and go to the driver application tab and fill the Intella app out as well if you would like. So that's it for the hot jobs. What we can do is go ahead, go to another commercial, and then come back. And Kayla had a few questions that was left over from last week. So we can just jump into those. We are back. You ready, Kayla? You got the questions ready? We had some that came late, I guess, when we were logging off last week.
Yeah. So my first question is, for new drivers, does MVT help drivers plan routes?
Yeah. A couple things here. There's the benefit of the fact that we do engineered lanes, a lot of point A, point B, point C, point A again. It allows drivers familiarity, so they'll be running a lot of the same lanes over and over and over again, which, considering some of the attractiveness of our running lanes, is kind of a nice luxury to have. The second part of this is we have directions and in-cab navigation that has just been implemented that has been wildly popular with our current drivers that gives directions that are realistic. And what I mean by realistic is the navigation system that you and I would have in our car is not the same thing as the navigation that a driver needs due to bridge heights, due to weather and different dynamics of having a truck. The navigation system is specifically engineered for a truck in our specific lanes at our specific customers. We've worked diligently with the vendor, customers, and a number of other organizations to put it together. So drivers will find very easy navigation tools with us. With that said, I always tell a driver, even in this day and era of technology, the most invaluable tool you can possibly have in a truck is just a common Rand McNally atlas. Pre-planning, understanding how to read an atlas and go and utilize an atlas when all else fails always will have value. So the luxury is there, but I will tell any driver that if you know how to use an atlas effectively, it is a tool that gets overlooked until something bad happens. Because one of the things that drivers will recognize, there's things on the road like construction, accidents, weather, that we may not have the luxury of being in that same truck, seeing that same experience. So always bring an atlas with you, but we definitely provide navigation.
Great, great. My next question is, how do you maintain relationships with drivers or keep them engaged?
Yeah, because I don't, truth be told, I don't hire drivers, I hire coworkers. And there is a difference between the two. At a lot of companies, you have these silos where finance is over here, drivers are over here, and here's the management team. And what ends up happening with size and scale is it becomes a very impersonal place to work. You essentially, as a driver, became a resource or a tool on the road for the fleet manager, which there's a lot of companies that have that. It's a horrible environment to be in. At the end of the day, when we work with customers or we make significant changes, our drivers have a seat at the table for those discussions. Part of our luxury is, as a founder was a driver for many years before finding the company, Royal Jones. We want to know what our drivers think, what they feel, what they need, what they don't like, what they do like. It makes us better as an organization, especially before we make any substantive changes. The other part of that equation is we're realistic about where our paychecks come from. It doesn't, on my paycheck, it may say Royal Jones on it, but at the end of the day, we generate revenue solely based off of what truck drivers do that work for us. Keeping that in mind and having that understanding makes for a better working relationship. So that goes to the fleet manager all the way to the person standing at the guard shack in El Paso, Texas. Having an understanding of what generates revenue and ultimately where your paycheck comes from leads to a certain level of respect that makes a difference from building a relationship standpoint.
All right.
I like that.
My next question, do your trucks have APUs and are they mandatory to use?
We do have APUs, and there's certain places that legally you have to use an APU. So as an example, you can't idle your truck overnight in the Dallas city limits. You're going to use that APU. That's unless you want to be in a sauna in your truck during the middle of August, you're going to use that APU to be cool. Additionally, we take fuel economy very seriously. I would ask a follow-up question. So if somebody can respond with this as to why they would not want to use the APU, there could be something that a driver's knowledgeable on a topic or an issue that I'm unaware of. So I'd be very interested to hear that. But with that said, yes, we use APUs. We get really good fuel economy, and one of those reasons is the APUs. So as an example, if you stay overnight someplace and try to stay warm in the middle of winter, you may use up to 10 gallons of fuel. If fuel's sitting at $4.30, you've paid $43 to stay warm that night. Where if you use the APU, it uses up about a gallon of diesel. So you're either paying $4 or you're paying $43. The choice from a financial standpoint is, why would you waste the $40? So we utilize the APUs. They're used exclusively to keep the interior going, have a lot of your accessories going, keep you warm, keep you cool, especially when you're idling or would normally be idling. So we definitely use them and definitely would have a reason to use them. So I'd always have that follow-up question. So whoever sent that comment in or that question in, please shoot back to us. I'd love to hear the explanation of why the question. Because like I said, even though most of my family's been in trucking my entire career, and I've been in trucking since January '06, it's why we have drivers at the table, because every once in a while I get something where I have to go, I didn't think of that. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would
Our
think that they
APUs are super quiet, so it's not like having a reefer behind you. They're unbelievably
Right.
quiet. They allow you to have multiple accessories in the truck. When you see an MVT truck at a truck stop, as an example, and the driver's in the back playing a video game on a large screen TV, most likely that APU is what's making that happen. It also means, as a driver, you don't have to bring a power inverter and hook it up to the engine so that you're able to live a basic life in the truck.
right.
That's all that I had.
That's all you got? Okay, great. I think this is probably a good time where the tall human commercial can go, because it will explain, and he does a great job explaining all the details of the truck. So that'll be good, that commercial, Kayla.
At Mesilla Valley Transportation, every driver is behind the wheel of a late model International LT, a truck that takes comfort, convenience, and safety to a whole new level. Join us as we explore the impressive features of this powerhouse on wheels. The open road is full of surprises, and sometimes that includes unexpected encounters with wildlife. But worry not, the International LT has you covered. The front end protection guard offers an extra layer of defense, protecting you from animal strikes. Drive with confidence, knowing that you're shielded from the unexpected. We all know how important it is to keep our batteries charged, and our International LTs have your back. The Cummins X15 is equipped with an auto start feature, ensuring that your batteries are automatically recharged when they run low on volts. It's a seamless process that keeps you powered up and ready to hit the road. Disc brakes and an engine brake provide reliable and safe stopping power when you need it most. You can have peace of mind knowing that you're in control. Safety is at the forefront of what we do. Our International LTs are equipped with top-of-the-line safety features to ensure your well-being while out on the road. These tractors are equipped with Bendix fusion protection, collision mitigation, and lane departure warning. Achieving good fuel efficiency deserves recognition. With the International LT, your efforts don't go unnoticed. When you consistently achieve impressive miles per gallon, the International LT rewards you with increased speed. It's a little extra motivation to keep you pushing for better fuel economy. After a long drive, you're ready for a well-deserved break. With the International LT, you can enjoy your rest period in absolute comfort. Thanks to its auxiliary power unit, you can keep the driver's cabin heated or cooled just the way you like it. No matter the weather outside, you'll always find your sweet spot within our International LT. The International LT understands that comfort extends beyond driving. It's a space where you can truly feel at home. I'm a big guy, and I have room to move around in here. With plenty of room to spare, the International LT accommodates even the tallest drivers. And there's ample storage for all your clothes, cooking essentials, and tools, making life on the road even more convenient. Speaking of cooking, bring along your appliances and don't sacrifice any luxuries thanks to all of our International LTs being equipped with built-in inverters. Dry your hair, make a smoothie, or play a game, all from the comfort of your truck. We take pride in our well-maintained fleet. And if by chance you do come across something wrong on your truck, you're never far from help thanks to our valuable relationship with Penske. With more than 750 brick-and-mortar Penske shops nationwide, their expert team is always ready to assist you. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, they'll get you taken care of and back on the road in no time. And there you have it. Just a few things about this late model International LT that make MVT the place to be.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So that was the commercial talking about the Blue Beast, and that answered a lot of the questions, or followed up with a lot of the answers that Pierson was just saying from a couple of the questions that Kayla was reading off from some of the viewers. And like Pierson was saying, the APU is where you'll be able to plug in a lot of your same appliances that you have at home, so it's like a home away from home, right? So did you have anything follow up that you wanted to say with that, Pierson?
Great pieces of equipment, all late model 2020 or newer, long sleeper berth. So instead of the standard 56-inch sleeper berth that you see for most regional driving jobs, this is a 71-inch sleeper berth. Essentially, it's made for a team. So even if you're a solo driver, you will be running in a team truck, meaning that you have a lot of ample storage space and can, quite frankly, move around. It's a nice truck. It performs well for us. We get great fuel economy with it, and our drivers rave about the International LT. It's a popular model with a lot of drivers out on the road. And most importantly, with that truck, we have a very close relationship with Penske. So you could have 100 brand new trucks come off the line, and there's going to be at least one truck that has an issue of any make and model of truck on the road today. With our relationship with Penske, God forbid, let's say you're going from Houston to Dallas, and all of a sudden you start running into some issues and it's making a funny sound and you don't know what's wrong. They have 4 stops along the way that you can get checked out. They also have time restraints, meaning that they have to get to us within 6 hours and have a alternate unit of transportation if that truck can't be fixed. So you can always do a loaner truck and then on that engineered lane come back and get your original truck when it's time to. That insurance policy that comes with Penske of doing the maintenance on the trucks and making sure that we have an ample network to have any issues come up on the road taken care of immediately is the other part of that truck that's really nice. The Penske relationship is what helps with the consistency of pay for many of our drivers.
Perfect. That is really good. And that is another way that you all build relationships with your drivers, because they don't have to worry about the breakdown issues. Trucks do break down, but the fact that they will either have another truck or it'll be fixed in ample time. So that's another way of building relationship and trust. So that answers that question. Another question that Kayla was asking. Kayla, the second question that you asked, can you ask that again? Because it was something I was thinking of. Okay. Oh, she doesn't anymore. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It was put away from the last segment. Okay, that's fine. So what I will say is, do you have, Pierson, did you happen to find out any information about, nope. It's going to be next quarter and we're going to have a whole nother.
Yeah, we had a fun meeting here a couple of days ago where we have picked up a number of new customers. And given the current freight environment, as we started picking up customers and the money it's going to generate for our drivers, I may have gotten sidetracked.
That's okay, because I'm liking a whole nice amount of money for the driver type of thing. I just think I'm just so excited about this car deal. What I want you to do is, well, I guess we should go to commercial first and then come back and talk about the car. So Kayla, if you can go to commercial with the fella Carlos talking about the car, that would be super fantastic.
Mi nombre es Carlos Vázquez, tengo trabajando 3 años aproximadamente y somos B1 y andamos en territorio de Estados Unidos. Lo que me gusta de MVT es que tiene buenos viajes, buenos camiones y muy buenas millas. Mi comunicación con el despacho es muy buena y todo eso, y siempre están a la orden del día. ¿Qué pienso del equipo de los camiones? Pues que están muy bien y les dan sus mantenimientos, sus PO y todo lo demás, alineación y balanceo, todo, cambio de llantas y excelente servicio. La compañía cada trimestre regala un auto para los corredores. Me motiva pues a crecer más como persona y pues, para dar el 100, como dicen, para la compañía.
Welcome back. Okay, so can you talk to us about it? I can't wait till you get to the leaderboard.
Yeah, absolutely. So in an industry that averages about 6.5 miles a gallon, we consistently average as a fleet 9.5. It is not luck that creates that. It is driver behavioral patterns, it's equipment, it's making sure the trucks are clean for better aerodynamics and weight, and a combination of about 20 or 30 other things technically. But driver behavior is the number one thing that gets us really great fuel economy. So with that being said, we want to reward drivers. Like we pointed out on Division 330, we had a productivity bonus. One of the things we do here is we reward somebody that has the best MPGs. So if you have the best MPG for the quarters, you end up getting a brand new car. We do a driver appreciation event one day every single quarter. Unlike other carriers that celebrate it once a year, we try to divide it out so we get a chance to see everybody at our locations. And the person that has the best MPG generally is going to get a brand new Nissan. We have had teams where we end up having to split money because you can't cut a car in half without the resale value going down dramatically. With that said, it's a nice thank you for leading us in MPG. The last three quarters, the folks have been averaging about 12.4 to 12.5 miles a gallon. Trust me, I can tell you, talking to my peers at other companies, there's companies that believe we lie about this, that this has to be a giant conspiracy, but I can guarantee you the evidence is clear. And ultimately, it saves us money so that we're able to contribute more towards driver pay instead of wasting money on additional fuel going down the road. Additionally, the person that wins it for the year gets a $25,000 bonus. So as an example, our best driver when it comes to fuel economy over the course of his career would probably be arguably a guy named Roberto Sandoval. Roberto's been with us about 20 years, but he's won that award 5 different times over a 9-year period. That's $125,000 extra in his pocket without running a single extra load. It's definitely doable. We track the information with you on the in-cab communication system, along within many break rooms that we have. You'll be able to physically see where you are stacked versus your peers. If you're in the middle of the pack, start anew the next quarter so you can go right after again. We have a department called Driver Services, and Driver Services is where you go if you need to refresh on something, if you want to learn more information about something, if you want to advance your career and look at career development opportunities. And one of the other things that they do is they will work with you to put you in the best position to get the best MPG bonus possible. It looks at everything from truck speed, hard brakes, pre-planning, the data that the truck's giving us as far as driving habits, running lanes, and a whole other lit information. So we work with you hand in hand. We want you to win the car. We want your fleet manager literally takes pride in bragging rights that one of the drivers under his board was able to get the car. So you have a whole team behind you, behind the wheel with you, not just yourself. So again, a brand new car for whoever has the best MPG in the quarter, or $25,000 for the person with the best MPG for the year. It's a unique way to reward those that end up rewarding us with the best fuel economy in the industry.
And did you talk about the leaderboard when they come in?
I did. I absolutely did.
I didn't hear
it. That leaderboard is tracked in the break room and then your in-cab communications. I don't mind mentioning it again because it's important. You get to see exactly about a week into the quarter, you'll start seeing where you are versus your peers.
I guess because normally when I talk about it, I look and I'm real kind of extra with it and look at the wall and everything. You didn't look at the wall.
We have drivers that are competitive with it. They know where they are versus their peers. I can tell you, though, that they come from all walks of life that win it. We've had people that have won it that have been with us 20, 30 years. We've had people that have won it that have been with us in the industry for 9 months. It's not particular to one division. There are some divisions that will have you go out west where you get to ride the Santa Ana winds coming back into Texas, but they've come from almost every division that we have. It really comes down to behavioral patterns with the driver more than anything else. And then there's about 20 other things that we do to get maximum fuel economy.
Perfect. Yeah. So next time we need you to be dramatic and look at the wall for the leaderboard.
I'll create a leaderboard on an Excel spreadsheet right behind me on the wall here, even if I have to handwrite it.
Okay, there we go. Then I'll realize it. But guys, So what I'm going to need you all to do is we have our Faces of the Road calendar here. So you can pick, let me see. There you go. Pick this up. Go straight to the website at rigonwheels.com. It's a tab called Road Store. And you have the Faces of the Road 2024 calendar. And so for March, which is the Women's History Month, you'll be able to have it there. We just passed on Friday is the International Women's Day, and then on Sunday was the beginning of Ramadan for Sunday. So you'll be able to keep up with all of your important dates as well as your trucking important dates. And as you know, in April, not in April, in May is the International Truck Week. And me and Pierson are definitely going to talk about that, about the Road Truck Week in April, and it's April 14th through the 16th. So they're going to be talking about concentrating on brakes in the truck, as well as your drug and alcohol with the clearinghouse. So as a carrier, what did you want to talk about when it comes to that?
One of the things to be cognizant of here is not everything talks to each other when it comes to reporting and agencies at the federal level. So as an example, you could be on the drug and alcohol clearinghouse because you failed a drug test at XYZ Trucking at their orientation, as an example. Your CDL is still active. Your CDL is still up and running. It's what we talked about earlier in this episode when we said it's not just protecting your CDL, it's protecting your entire body of work. So as an example, if you go to a weigh scale one day, it's how a lot of folks will get onto the drug and alcohol clearinghouse, show up at a weigh scale one day, and when they run the information on the driver goes, no, I have my CDL. You do have your CDL, but you are illegally on the road if you are on the drug and alcohol clearinghouse. So it's one of the things that's hitting a lot of drivers. So they'll be focused on that. Now that they've initiated 2 years ago the drug and alcohol clearinghouse, now comes the actual enforcement of it. That will take place that week as well. Again, if you're a driver, you got to protect your entire body of work. So for the drug and alcohol clearinghouse has taken out about 160,000 drivers. When you include what the spot market has done, it's taken out another 100 to 200,000 drivers. The good thing is in the second half of the year, everybody that's left is going to reap the benefits of fewer drivers on the road. The bad part is we're still going through those growing pains, and you're going to see a lot more of this to where they're now tying it into the safety blitz. So be cognizant of that on the road. If you're in a weigh station, it may take longer than usual because they're probably going to be checking everybody.
Yeah, definitely trying to keep everybody safe on the road, and then want to keep the promotion of it all going too. But it's hugely about keeping everybody safe on the road. Well, guys, we have come to the end of our story and our road here. I'm very sad about that. But of course, there will be a next Tuesday, God willing. But really, we want everybody to be safe out there. Enjoy your weather if you are in good weather area like we are right now in Texas. Thank goodness, because I am so tired of being cold. But we will be back here on Tuesday. We are here every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Anything you want to say, Pierson?
Yeah, we're coming up into the time of the year that wind's going to play a major role in what you do on the road. We talk about snow and we talk about rain, but we're in the spring times, generally, depending on the part of the country, the windiest part of the year. So if you have a light load or are running empty, be very cognizant of that. There are times where you need to humble yourself and say, it is not safe for me to go forward, and have that open discussion with your fleet manager. And if you're at a company that's conscious about safety, they'll respect your decision.
Yeah. And hopefully you are. Definitely, hopefully you are. Well, everybody, definitely stay safe out there on the road, and we'll see you Tuesday, or you'll be listening to the replay after that. But until then, be safe. Bye-bye.